Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new season of the Purposeful Life Show with your host, Adrian Starks. I'm excited to share some new updates of the show with you, starting with a new look, sound, and energy, as well as a variety of guests coming aboard with intriguing topics of conversation. I hope you enjoy the new level of energy that will be brought to the show. Thank you for all of your support since the very beginning in 2019. Wow, it's been 3 years already? Because of you, the Purposeful Life Show is now in the top 5% of all podcasts globally, and we aim to get it into the top 1%. Continue listening to the show and share it with others. You can also now listen to the show on my Facebook page at Adrian Starks, where you can comment in real time and communicate with me about your aha moments. Thank you again for all of your support, and let's make this one hell of a year and be purposeful about doing that. Wishing you all much love and success. Success in life is not as elusive as it may appear to be. Often the opportunities we are seeking are right in front of us, clamoring to be noticed. Do you find that being successful is frustrating? Is it exhausting? Are you having difficulty getting that big break? The most important question to ask ourselves is, what are we missing because we are not ready to take immediate action when an opportunity arises? Stay tuned for our brand new episode, Are You Prepared for Your Success? Hi, my name is Adrian Starks, and welcome to the Purposeful Life Show on the Champion Up Podcast. This podcast is for the courageous creators wanting to create a life of meaning, adventure, and fulfillment, all while helping to make the world a better place. I'm happy you're here, and if you're new to our show, make sure to give us that 5-star rating and subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. Also, connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Champion Up. It is always that one idea that could be your breakthrough. It's time to step into your courage and believe the champion in you. Welcome to the Champion Up Podcast. This is the Purposeful Life Show, and I am your host. My name is Adrian Starks, and I'm excited to have you this week for a very unique episode, and it'll just be me for today. Before we get started, make sure you go and download this podcast onto any podcast platform, give it its 5-star rating, and give it a review so that you can be on the lookout for more amazing content coming to you weekly. Today is a very powerful episode, and I'm just going to be sharing this with you. I feel it's time for us to connect one-to-one. This episode is about, are you actually ready for your success? Are you ready for the opportunity? Are you preparing right now as we speak for the thing that you want to happen in your life? Throughout this process of episodes, you have seen multiple, or you've heard of multiple, courageous creators coming on the show, sharing their experiences of their lives, the journeys they've been going through, and how they are now and what they're doing for the world. This has all been part of the process. What's going on in the world today is that we love quick results. We love instant gratification. I mean, can you blame us? I think it is said now that movies are so much more just in-your-face action and less dialogue, less character building, because people just want to know what's going on and how can I get this thrill. So we're losing the quality of things in conversations. We're losing the quality of things in getting ready for the things that we want in our life because we want them so fast that we're not paying attention to what we're doing. This Champion Up podcast took a while for me to create. It did not happen overnight. It was a preparation of things over time. Me constantly working with people, learning how to conversate, learning how to interview, learning how to ask questions. More importantly, learning about myself and what I love to do and what I'm passionate about. That required preparation. What are you preparing for right now in your life? I hear a lot of us talking about, well, if I only had this, if I only had success, if I only had this much money, if I only had these connections, then this would happen. No, you're missing it. What's happening is that you're waiting for something to happen to you, and you're not wanting to walk toward it. You're wanting it to come to you. That's what happens with a lot of people on this planet. We become very lazy. I'm going to just call that out. We see other people being successful, and we want to know, how can we get that without all the drudgery behind it? And there is not a person on this planet who has been successful who has not gone through some hardships, some setbacks, some disappointments, some pain. And I'm not saying that to be successful, you have to have a horrible life in the beginning. And this is one cue that I want to correct here. I've seen a lot of things about, well, if you want success, you got to go through the pain and drudgery. You have to really, have sacrifice everything. And this is why a lot of people don't want success. I'm going to call it out. They don't want to sacrifice everything. I mean, should you really have to sacrifice everything? No, you don't. But you do have to make different choices of what's in alignment with what you're wanting to experience. And this is why we need to prepare for our lives, prepare for what we want to accomplish out here as courageous creators, because it will not happen overnight. And it certainly will not happen by you just singing Kumbaya around a table somewhere, wanting something to happen in your life. You have to act on this. You have to plan it out and make sure that you follow that plan. And if the plan changes, hey, you better change along with that plan and be more diligent. Let's talk about preparation. What does that mean? Why is preparation so important? Why work so hard to get to where you want to be, or to maybe exit that 9 to 5, start that new business, travel the world, make some extra income, have better health, have a better sense of well-being? All this requires preparation, to know what you want, to plan that out, and to make steps to follow that plan so that you can experience those things along the way. Because success is a journey. I'll say this over and over again. It is not a destination. It is who you become in pursuit of the things you're wanting to experience that matters most. For instance, if you want to be a person that travels around the world doing what you love to do, you have to understand what people that travel around the world doing what they love to do, what they do on a daily basis. What is their activity level like? What are their habits? Because it's all about habits at the end of the day. It's about what you're doing continuously, whether you're aware of it or whether you are not aware of it. I remember when I was in high school, and I loved to play sports. I still do to this day, but I was an avid tennis player. I was expected to go pro, actually. My father played tennis. He played some pro circuits, and he pretty much raised me up with a racket in my hand, or a tennis racket in my hand. I remember I was like age 3 or 4, and he got me my first small tennis racket. I grew up watching him on the tennis courts and how powerful he was, and how he was able just to control the ball and control the situation. Even if it was windy, or if it was raining, or if it was extremely hot, he had control over himself. And like most children, we're watching and we're listening to those who are bigger than us. And we're wondering, how can I do that someday? So the years passed on. My father saw that I was growing and I had an interest in it. He never forced me. He saw that I had an interest. Then he began working with me. Elementary, I was playing tennis. Middle school, I was playing tennis, but then in high school, he saw something very different. He saw a fire in my eyes. He saw a love and passion for the sport that he had shared. So we had a bond. It was our way of bonding. I remember every weekend we would go play tennis right before dinner. My mom would say, hey, don't you guys be too late now. Don't want the food to get cold. And we don't, I want to make sure he eats before he goes to bed. My dad said, yes, dear, we'll be back. And we come back like 2 or 3 hours later. I began to get better over time, and the ego kicked in. I remember there were matches I would play with other opponents and I would win. And of course, I got a little arrogant about it. Most youngsters do. So one day, my father decided to take me onto the court and play me one-on-one. That day was the most humiliating day of my life, because he showed me something about preparation. He showed me that you're always needing to be in a position where you're getting stronger, better, faster, and wiser. Now, he outranked me in age and in experience. But of course, being the youngster and quick on my feet that I was, I thought I could, run a number on him. So we started the game off. And he gave me some confidence. But then the tables turned. Here comes experience. Here comes the knowledge of knowing what to do when things don't always go your way. My father began hitting the ball a certain way I'd never seen before. He put top spins on the ball, back spins, curves. And for those of you who are listening, what I mean by this is that when the ball comes over the net, it could have a different type of spin on it that would cause you to shift your body a certain way that was unexpected. You could be waiting for the ball, and all of a sudden the ball would go hit the ground and it would go left, or it would go far right. And this was part of my frustration with this whole match. And I remember getting mad and throwing my racket on the ground and saying, I'm done. I'm not playing no more. This sucks. The terminology for teenagers. My father looked at me and he said, son, pick the racket back up. You got some preparing to do. I said, what is this all about? I'm winning out here. I'm beating people. He says, but son, there's always more to do, always more to win. There's always ways of getting better. You want to go pro someday? You want to travel the world and play tennis? You've got to prepare every day as if you're a novice to this game. And he explained some things to me. He says, I decided to challenge you today and to give you some of the things that I wasn't going to wait until later to give you. That is lessons on how to prepare for what is coming your way when it comes to this game. And he says you can also use this in life as well, too. And this is why today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sharing this with you. My father had a simple rule. He said that when the ball comes across the net, when your opponent hits the ball, you should have your feet already in place. Meaning by the time the ball comes across the net, you should know which side it's going to come on. If it's going to come to your right, then you should bring your right leg back if you're a right-hander, and you should be ready to hit the ball with a forehand. But your racket should be back, ready to strike before the ball comes over the net. Now, I didn't like doing this because I believed in just when the ball comes over the net, I react to it. I just take my racket back and I swing, like most people do. But then he showed me that the reason why you don't do this, if you just react to something, it minimizes your time. It minimizes your ability to be able to choose an area where you want that ball to go. It gives you less control over the velocity of the ball, and it makes you more frustrated because you're rushing and you're being anxious. He said, son, when I hit the ball across the net, no matter what I do to the ball, what kind of spin, speed I use for it, the velocity, you should be ready for that ball. You should know that it's on your right side, your right leg should be back, your right arm should be back, and you should be ready to swing with the right form that I have taught you for years. If it comes to your left side, you should have your left leg back, you should have your backhand ready, and you're ready to swing with that form I've showed you for years. He said that when you get better over time, son, challenges get harder. Your opponents, they will find ways to challenge you. They will be more experienced in their realm, and they'll be able to hit the ball a way that you have not seen before. But would you simply quit the match and throw your racket down because the ball is not going your way? He says you got to prepare. Preparation is key. When that racket is back and when you're ready before the ball comes over the net, you're able to decide where you want to hit that ball. You can hit it straight down the line. You can hit it across court. You can do whatever you want to do with that ball. It's in your control. The ball is in your court. This is what it means to be a champion on the court and off the court. You have to always be preparing for things. The opportunities will shift. But with a person who is not prepared, they will look like a fool when an opportunity comes around because, one, they won't see it coming, and two, they won't know what to do when it shifts or it changes directions on them. This lesson here is very important for me to share with you about preparation. What I learned from being on the tennis court was that I should always have myself ready. Before that ball comes over the net, before it hits the ground on my side, I should be ready to respond, not react to it. When you are not ready for the things in your life that you are envisioning for, you're not going to be ready when they come if you're not prepared. There are opportunities all around you right now clamoring to be noticed, but you're not vigilant. You're not really thinking that that opportunity is there. It is there, but you're not noticing it. Sometimes the opportunity comes with challenges. And if we're not prepared enough, we don't want to take on those challenges because we feel like we're not capable of accomplishing it. So what do? We avoid it, we ignore it, we run away from it. We find ways to distract ourselves with a multitude of things that are unnecessary for our success. Designing this podcast, speaking to people across the world, coaching people, working with entrepreneurs to help them avoid distractions that are unnecessary is part of what I do as a passion for life, because I learned that when we don't focus on the things that really matter, we lose out on the things that does. Success is not about being challenged to the point to where you're miserable, where you're not getting any sleep, where your health is declining. No, success is about preparation. Remember, like my father said, if I'm ready, I don't have to rush my shot. I can take my time and decide where I want it to go. Sometimes I might have to move a little quicker, but I have one less step to worry about because I've been prepared. You can have one less step to be worried about if you are prepared as well, too. Start looking at your schedule daily and what are the things that you're preparing for and what are the things that you are rushing through. This is important for us to know when it comes to our time. Time is the most valuable asset you will ever have because without time, you can't physically be here on this planet. You do know that. I hope you do. It's a valuable asset. but we treat it as if it's something that we don't have control over. You do. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. I know you've heard this before. But how many of you actually believe this? You have the same amount of time as a great person who you admire, or who you watch on TV, or who you listen to. You have the same amount of time. You breathe the same air. What is the difference? It is the preparation for life. Life is all about preparation. I believe it was Ralph Emerson. He said that we should all adopt the pace of nature. Her secret is patience. I also find that with patience comes the sense of preparation. We become less patient when we're not fully prepared, when we know we're not ready and we just jump into something. I'm sure all of you listening today, at some point when you were in school, or maybe you're a student listening to this, what happened when you didn't prepare fully for an exam? You came in that next day and you were concerned because there was a deep part of you that knew you were not ready. So what did you do? You started rushing your answers. You started rushing how you think through things, and the results were not good. Preparation comes with the ability to just be ready. Get yourself into the position so that you can strike. If you keep attacking your goals, your dream will surrender. But to keep attacking your goals, there must be a plan of preparation. I don't know what your goals are. I don't know what you want for success. I don't even know what success means to you. I hope it means something of a worthy cause. But whatever it means to you, you have to prepare for it. You have to be ready for it. This quick overnight success thing that you think you see is not true. The people that you see that are successful on the planet, they've accomplished their things they wanted to accomplish. They did it with time. Do you know the story of the bamboo tree that took 5 years to grow? The question is, did it take 5 years to grow? Because according to the story, it grew 200 feet within 5 weeks. But within the 5 years the farmer was watering that bamboo tree, there was no sign of it. No one saw any bamboo tree. But after the 5-year period, one day the sprout pushed up through the ground. Then within 5 weeks, it shot up over 200 feet in the air. This is usually where the story ends. But the important thing of the story is that it took this bamboo tree 5 years to grow because it was growing its roots underground. Because it knew that at some point it was going to shoot through the ground upward, and that it needed to have strong enough roots to support it so it wouldn't fall over. This is the part of the story that many of people don't talk about. The roots, that bamboo preparing itself for its big moment. Are you preparing yourself for your big moment? Are you preparing yourself for your opportunity? Now, let's not get a misunderstanding here. You can never be fully 100% perfect for something. But it is important to be prepared, but also be vigilant. Be watchful to see that glimmering opportunity shining at you and to go for it because you know you're prepared. You've got your racket back, you've got your leg back, your body in motion, and you've got the right form, the right plan, and you can just swing at that opportunity and decide where you want it to go. Make sure that you're ready every single day. Success comes to those who do certain things a certain way every single day. Most simple formula I can give you. But you got to understand what is that certain thing and certain way that you do things every single day. To learn more about how I work with entrepreneurs, how I work with people who are needing to up-level their creativity and change their lives, I want you to go to championup.net. There's a lot of amazing content that I'm sharing there when it comes to podcasts, YouTubes, blogs, and articles, because life is about preparation, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it's about. Don't wait for things to happen for you. Start opening up the door to allow yourself to experience the things that you want to happen in your life and walk toward them. Nothing gets built on its own, not even your life. It requires for you to have a plan and to prepare yourself to follow that plan all the way through until you begin to see that vision become your reality. I say this a lot, but I'll say it again. Dreams don't come true until you do. And dreams will only be this vague fantasy you have if it's not your reality. For it to become your reality, you have to start preparing for it as if you already have it. Start preparing for your success, preparing for better health, preparing for better relationships, preparing for better finances, preparing for traveling around the world, preparing for having the time to do the things you love to do. Prepare for that. Begin to look at your schedules. What are you doing today? What's the top 3 things on your list you need to do that are preparing you for what you really want to experience? Or are there a lot of things on there that are just distracting you from doing what needs to be done? I have found that we distract ourselves intentionally because there's a part of us that doesn't really want to get into that rhythm of doing the hard things. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. And if you do what is hard, your life will become a lot easier. I'm telling you this from experience. So start preparing for your life and ask yourself every single day, am I ready for this opportunity? If it were to come and I were to see it, am I ready to take it on? Follow me on championup.net. Go to my social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, so that you can continue to be given content that will help you be a powerful, magnificent person of change in your life. My vision is for everyone to live a life they truly desire to live. And that vision for me is to make this world a better place by allowing you to become better. Because when we become better, our worlds become better. But we only become better when we prepare ourselves to become better. Until then, I encourage you all to be that courageous creator in your life. This is the Purposeful Life Show on the Champion Up Podcast with myself, Adrian Starks, and thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed our podcast today, don't forget to give us that 5-star rating and subscribe to the show so you don't miss out on the powerful life-changing content on future episodes. Also, make sure to go to championup.net for even more life-changing content. Until then, I encourage you to be the courageous creator in your life.